Well, hello everyone, and welcome in to Six Green Sunday JW World News. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're here with us. Well, we got a great day going on up here in New England, and I hope it's nice where you are. My name's Rick Farron. I am coming to you from the hub of the universe, right up here in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, listen, I want you to know that anyone who calls into the program, will put the number up. You have a chance to win $20. You have a chance to win $20, and I'll tell you how it happens. If you say the secret word, I have some secret words of someone who speaks up today or even mentioned it in the YouTube comments. I'm reading them. If someone says a secret word, you'll get $20 mailed to you. So anyways, I wanted to let you know that. That's a new part of our program. We're trying to get people to call in and be part of our program. So we're looking forward to you guys doing that. But anyways, a big week for the Watchtower. A big week went on in the witness world. Sad week for many Jehovah's Witnesses. Of course, it was a week ago today. A week ago today that bomb blast hit the Watchtower Convention in India. And friends, it's a terrible thing. Nobody is in glee over that. Those were innocent Jehovah's Witnesses that were just killed in cold blood, so to speak. So I wanted to bring that up with a terrible thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video. I want you to see it. If you're on YouTube, you'll see the video of what happened in India. Evidently, some witness did take pictures of it, videos of it on their phone and posted it up. Now, I must say that these pictures aren't very pleasant. It shows people getting burned. So if you are sensitive to this type of video, you might not want to watch it, or perhaps send the kids out. But let me see if I can't get that video up so that you'll be able to see it. And there it is right there. Just give me a second. I'll get into my live stream and I'll share it with you, and you'll be able to see it. It's terrible video, but the reason why I want to show it is I want to be able to talk about how heinous and how evil that was. So we're going to share that screen right there. And let me just make sure I get it. In fact, here it goes right now. I'm going to share it. You watch this video. It's terrible. But if you have sensitivity to this type of stuff, well, get up and move aside for just about a minute or two while it's being played. Okay, I'm going to play it now for you. There isn't too much sound to it, but you'll see the images coming out of there. Friends, that is a horrific picture of what took place in India 1 week ago today. That was at a Jehovah's Witness convention. And I must say that is a terrible, terrible situation. Our hearts go out to those witness people. And a young girl, to a 12-year-old girl, was burned to death. So it's a terrible, terrible thing. But the reason why I even bring it up, friends, is, in that particular instance, we can all remember when we went to conventions, especially when I was a young guy, and you folks as well. But we can remember we were bored at conventions and assemblies. But imagining something like what you just saw happening, if you were a child at that convention, a young Jehovah's Witness child, you would be traumatized for life. You really, really would be. It would be a terrible situation. So I just wanted to show that to you so you can get somewhat of an idea of what that must have been like to be in that convention. We never on this program in the 18 years, we would never encourage violence. It's never justifiable. It's not very pleasant to see this, so we would never encourage it. In fact, the man who did the bombing, his name is Dominic Martin. And Dominic Martin claims that he has been a member of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And he surrendered himself to the police. At first, the police, when I first heard the reports coming across the news last Sunday, they were saying that they thought it was a terrorist attack. But no, the man's name was Dominic Martin. He is a former Jehovah's Witness. And friends, I have to say, Jehovah's Witnesses are really starting to feel the blunt end of retaliation. Many, many people who have been hurt by the Watchtower are retaliating. They're doing terrible things to the witnesses. And as I say, we never encourage violence. But Dominic Martin, he was the one that was the bomber, and he wrote on a Facebook post. He claimed responsibility for what he did. And the post was taken down by Facebook. He claimed to be, as I say, one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and he was not happy with what the Jehovah's Witness group was doing in India. And because you're not happy, you don't go in and murder people, Dominic. I mean, really, there was no reason for that. So, but the 3 females were killed, 2 older sisters. I don't know how old they were, but there was a 12-year-old girl. She also died. And there was just charred remains. I mean, it was terrible, a terrible event. But, and also another 10, at least 10 others have serious burns, and many more, according to the news coming out of India, will die. This is an actless sense of murder that did not have to happen. You don't harm people. Well, Dominic Martin, he did take the responsibility, as I say, and his major beef with the Jehovah's Witnesses, his major beef was that they are anti-national. They have anti-national beliefs, which incidentally, he says, match radical Islam. So Dominic is suggesting that the Jehovah's Witness have, well, they're like Islam. They have radical beliefs. I don't agree with what he did, but they do have radical beliefs. We know that. The country of Russia even suggests that they're extremists. But, more and more people are finding out how the Watchtower speaks about nations, speaks about people that leave the Watchtower. And sad to say, it's getting very dangerous to even be one of Jehovah's Witnesses in the year 2023. And as we go forward, I really have to say that. He goes on and on. I don't have all the time. We covered more of this last night. But Dominic says that Jehovah's Witnesses really are poisoning their kids. They tell them to do certain things, not to, sing a national anthem. And they really are not in any way involved in the country's activities or politics. He thinks that's a bad thing. But still, again, it's not enough to go out and kill the witnesses. So anyways, there are better ways. There are better ways to actually come up against the Watchtower and be an activist. We can spread awareness about how evil and bad the Watchtower is by protesting, and by even having programs like we have here on YouTube, and we can live stream it and we can talk about it. So anyways, I wanted to bring that to your attention, but I did want to say that it's getting to be very, very dangerous to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And I really mean that. If you're a Bible study of a Jehovah's Witness, or someone who is contemplating being or becoming one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I really would want you to stop and think about it. And the reason why I say that is with all of this violence against the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I'm going to read you some incidents here that have taken place in the last few years, and you get the picture. So if you're going to become one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm going to say you send me an invitation to your funeral. It's getting to be a very, very dangerous religion to be part of. It's a very dangerous lifestyle. I went back, I tried to find some information on witnesses that were killed, so to speak, murdered in the line of duty. And I was just flabbergasted with the amount of witnesses that have been hurt and killed in the line of duty. Now, you all remember El Chapo, right? Well, El Chapo, who is a big-time drug dealer in Mexico, probably the biggest drug dealer of all time. And, of course, he had a lot of lieutenants and people working under him. And in Mexico, back in 1981, 4 Jehovah's Witnesses were out in service knocking on doors, door to door. And somehow the 4 of them were working together, and they all knocked on one of El Chapo's lieutenant's doors. And the lieutenant, or the guy that was working for Chapo, the drug dealer, he thought they were spies. He murdered them all. So 4 Jehovah's Witnesses were killed going door to door. You never know. We all went door to door. We never knew who was going to be behind the door, did we? We had no idea who was going to be behind the door. It could be a mass murderer. It could be a drug dealer that's really shoot you because he thinks you're spying on him. So that was one incident. And then we also had, back in February, we talked about 2 pioneer sisters that were stabbed in Argentina. Well, we talked about that last February. And then what about there in Rockford, Illinois? Well, let me put this man's picture up. This man was actually in Rockford, Illinois, and he was sitting in his car, and he's waiting for the service group, his wife and his family, to come back from going door to door. And a man came up and shot him. This is the man that was in the car. That's him. His name is Miguel Perez. Now, here's a witness sitting in a car. Someone came up and shot him out in service. But the reason why I bring this up, there are numerous stories that I came across online of people being killed in the line of duty. And let me bring another one up here. Let me show you this. You might remember this. Now, this is out in Colorado, and this happened last Christmas. This happened last Christmas, and this one you probably remember as well. That was in Colorado, and then a man actually went to the Kingdom Hall. There's a picture of it. That's the Kingdom Hall in Colorado. He went to the Kingdom Hall, and what he did is he placed a bomb. He threw 2 pipe bombs through the window. They didn't go off. But what the man did is he killed his wife in the parking lot and then shot himself in the parking lot of a Kingdom Hall. So you can see that, I'm not just over amplifying or embellishing or trying to sensationalize things. I'm really reaching out and appealing to you. It's too dangerous to become one of Jehovah's Witnesses today. They have too many enemies. There's too many people that are out to get them. So I want to bring that to your attention. Then also, in other words, if you guys want to go back to 1985 in a Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses in Sydney, Australia, there was also another bomb attack. 1 man was killed. You probably remember reading about that. So this is something that's happening on a regular basis as of late. And then, of course, March 2023. Do you all know what happened in March 2023 in the Jehovah's Witness world? Well, they had a mass shooting at a Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses in Hamburg, Germany. Y'all remember that? That was only not even a year ago, really. And the shooter, well, he was identified as a Jehovah's Witness, a former Jehovah's Witness that was disfellowshipped, and he was disgruntled. So he went back and he killed 6 people and an unborn child at the Kingdom Hall in Germany. In fact, I'll put that picture up so you can see it. You might remember the picture. That's the picture. That's the Kingdom Hall in Hamburg, Germany, that this man shot 6 Jehovah's Witnesses, killed them, and also an unborn child. So I'm just not blowing wind here. I'm telling you that it is dangerous to be a Jehovah's Witness. I know if I was still in and had family members, I don't think I'd want them going door to door. I don't think I'd even want them going to a convention after I'm hearing and reading a lot of this stuff, because it's dangerous. You're knocking on doors. You don't know whose door you're knocking on. And now why is it that I'm saying it's dangerous to be a Jehovah's Witness today? They have too many enemies. It would be like me telling you it's dangerous to be in the mafia. The witnesses have too many enemies. They're ticking too many people off. Now, you don't resort to throwing bombs at Kingdom Halls. You don't resort to hurting people. But some people do that. They're so angry. Their life has been so torn apart that they don't know what else to do. It's not the answer. But that's why I wouldn't want to be around people like that. So I just wanted to throw that on the table and let you be aware of the fact that the Watchtower organization, i.e. Jehovah's Witness, And whether it's the governing body or whether it's the elders, whether the powers to be at Watchtower, they're making it a very toxic environment. Really, it's a toxic environment. It's poison. And when you stop and think about it, what does the Watchtower do to some of these people that are snapping? I tried to think of some of the things the Watchtower is doing that is creating people to snap. First of all, and whether you support my thought on this or not, I don't know. But first of all, I realized that the Jehovah's Witness organization, they are putting people in a chronic state of bad mental health. Yes, that's what the Jehovah's Witnesses do. They put people in a chronic state of poor mental health. That's one thing that's ticking a lot of people off. And also, how about suicides? How many Jehovah's Witnesses have we known? I've known some that have committed suicide. You know some too if you're listening into our program here today. So that's ticking people off. What if you had a brother or a sister that committed suicide because of the policies of the Watchtower? Would you have a good feeling toward them? What if your father or your mother took their life because of the policies of the Watchtower? Friends, the Watchtower is making enemies. They're making enemies all over the place. Now, another thing that might be ticking Jehovah's Witnesses off, or ex-Jehovah's Witnesses off. Jehovah's Witnesses, many of them, they live in poverty. And it's due to the strict anti-educational teachings of the Watchtower. They don't want people to get educated. They don't want people to have a career. They want to keep people in poverty. And when they can keep people in poverty, you can control them. And that's exactly what the Watchtower is doing. But they're not living in poverty. Do you think for a minute the Watchtower organization, the head honchos of the Watchtower are living in poverty? No way. So these are the things that are ticking people off. I can even think of another thing. I can think of a very dark cloud that is hanging over the heads of Jehovah's Witnesses, the imminent destruction by Armageddon. This hangs in the mind of every Jehovah's Witness, every hour of every day, every minute of every day. This is really what Jehovah's Witnesses believe. Armageddon's coming anytime, and it really does a job on their thinking. How can you live a normal life if you think the end is coming tomorrow? And when we had Dr. Jerry Bergman, he's a psychologist, and he worked for the Watchtower, and he wrote the book, the Bible. He wrote the book called Jehovah's Witnesses and Mental Illness. And he said the reason why Jehovah's Witnesses have more mental illness than any other religion, they have 4 times more mental illness in the Jehovah's Witness religion than any other religion. And it's because of them not being able to get on with their life. They have this imminent destruction of Armageddon right around the corner. So the endless teachings from the Watchtower, they are affecting people. People are beginning to snap. I don't want to be in a convention center of Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't want to be in a Kingdom Hall. I don't want to go door to door. I don't even want to stand out there in a cart if I was still one of Jehovah's Witnesses. You know, another thing, too, that's ticking people off, and they're starting to realize it, friends, there's many people leaving the Watchtower. They're hemorrhaging right now. And there's another thing that's ticking people off big time. You know, you can work your butt off. You can go door to door. You can push your cart around. You can spend 10 hours a day in the service, 7 days a week. And you know something? You can never do enough. Don't worry. They would say to you, don't worry about what you did yesterday. What are you going to do today? Don't you think that can create some mental uneasiness on people? Don't you think that can make people feel really down? Geez, I just put 10 hours in, hustling magazines for this religion, and I can never do enough. Never do enough. I mean, really, when you stop and think about it, it's one situation after another. And these beliefs, they impact the Watchtower's beliefs because they're so aberrant and strange. It's now impacting many, many Jehovah's Witnesses. And many Jehovah's Witnesses are only one mental crisis away from a complete mental breakdown. Yes. So I wanted to bring that out. The toxicity level is very high right now. And it's really sad to see bombs go off at a convention. But I know the reason why this is happening. The reasons it's happening is because Jehovah's Witnesses, they're making too many enemies. Too many enemies. And then when I'm even thinking now, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm wondering. Will the Watchtower, will they try to deflect and blame the convention bombing and some of these other incidents that are taking place on us ex-Jehovah's Witness apostates, so to speak? I wouldn't be a bit surprised. You know, they love to talk about the apostates. They love to say, oh, look at the apostates. And now they could say, look at the apostates are killing us. They're agents of Satan. They're gonna pull it out. You watch. They're gonna say that the apostates are the ones that are killing us at conventions. No, you can't say that. You can't say it. We don't advocate it any way. Don't advocate people being maimed and killed anywhere, any place. Well, anyways, you're on JW World News. That's the news the Watchtower doesn't want us talking about. This is the Sunday edition. I'm glad you're with us. Did someone want to say something? You're on with us. If you do, go ahead. Hit *6. Well, we've got people coming in. We always good to see ones. Go ahead. I believe Anne Marie wants to say something. Go ahead, Anne Marie.
Can you hear me okay? This is my backphone.
I'll put the mic really, really close, but I'll reiterate what you're saying if we can't hear you. Go ahead.
Watchtower always blames ex-Watchtowerites. They do terrible, cruel things to us ex-members and then say they did it to themselves. Thank you, Rick.
Well, you're absolutely right with that. So, you know, I'm sure that the apostates are going to be blamed for a lot of these attacks that are taking place in the witness world. Well, anyways, I'll get right to it. I have to tell you that I had a great week. Did someone else want to speak up? Go ahead. I believe we have the United Kingdom. Go ahead. Come on, Steve.
Hi, Rick. Yeah. Just thinking about the way that the organization, I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but they dislodge people mentally, as you know, you've already covered it really, but they kind of dislodge people mentally. People that aren't the full ticket, if for want of a better phrase, really, that's probably not the best phrase to use, but they dislodge people. They make they unedge them, and the people that do, I mean, I'll give you an example. It's something that we've all heard of. The stupid comments that Stephen Lett made about babies, you know, a few months back. And then that woman that killed her child. That's just one example. That was a person that was obviously mentally not correct in the head that did that. And these people that are bombing, like the one in India, the guy who bombed in India, the people, the problem we had in Germany about the mass shooting and all the other things, these ex-witnesses that are doing these crazy things, you know, yes, it's down to the individual and they shouldn't have done it. But when the Watchtower have dislodged people mentally and there is no other place to go in their minds, you know, you have to put the blame squarely at the feet of the governing body, because they're the ones that are inculcating this message into the minds of people whose minds they've completely twisted around. And some people just can't take it and they snap. And now we're starting to see the results of it. And the reason that we're seeing the results of it is because the information is more, people can get the information more now from off the internet and things like that. So the fact that all of the lies that they said and all of the wrong things that they said are now becoming public more and easily accessible more. And it's just, we're now seeing, you know, we're now seeing what's happening. You know, that this is what's happening. This is the result of these unhinged people, mentally unhinged people. So the blame sits squarely, no matter what they say. it sits squarely at the feet of the governing body and the people who make these crazy statements, you know, and they've got a lot to answer for. And I wouldn't like to be in their shoes when they've got to, you know, give an account for their lives.
Well, you're right, Steve. It really, I mean, and there will be an accounting. There will be, you know, justice is going to be done here. You know, they made their bed, they're going to have to lay in it. And right now, I mean, we not only have governments that are really looking at how evil the Watchtower is, but we have other groups as well, as I was saying on our earlier broadcast. I mean, doctors, policemen, governments, as we say, they're all looking very closely at this witness movement and saying, is this a good movement or is this hurting people? And they're coming to grips with it hurting people. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. Yeah, a big week. I mean, I had to tell you, this was one of the most fantastic weeks I have ever lived. I am just a happy camper. I went down to that protest. And we talked about it last night. We'll talk a little bit about it now because people want to know about it. But I went down to that protest. It was advertised for a good part of a year. We're going to be a protest on Halloween Day. The protest was going to be right there in front of the White House. So we were down there. I went down there. Well, I left last Sunday, and I spent a day in Pennsylvania with my father. And then I showed up at the protest on Tuesday morning. And it was a beautiful day, a beautiful, crisp, sunny fall day. And there were a lot of people there. I didn't realize we would get that many people protesting. I mean, I've been protesting for 18 years. And it was so hard to get people to want to come in and speak up. And it was difficult to do that, to get them to come and protest. I mean, I would get people, yeah, Rick, I'll be there. They never came. But they got over 200. I counted about 218, 222, somewhere around there, people that went to that protest in front of the White House. And it was, you know, usually the events that I cover protesting, and I've been to a number of conventions, Kingdom Halls, usually it's at a watch. I even protested up at Warwick, New York, at the world headquarters. And usually when I protest, it's in front of a Jehovah's Witness event. But this wasn't. This was in front of the White House. And I was wondering what type of an impact that would have. And I came away thinking it had a lot of, what I want you to do, guys, keep your phone muted. Guy, I want you to keep your phone muted. When I tell you to unmute it, you will. I'm going to mute you. So keep it muted because it comes on and interferes with the program here. But I was really thinking in terms of, well, gee, how many people are we going to get here? But we got over 200 people, and we were all so excited to see each other. Some of these people you see on YouTube and Facebook, and boy, we were so eager to tell our stories. And we all had, well, not all of us, but many of us had a speech to give. So many got up and gave a speech. I gave a speech, and the speech really was reaching out to the government and seeing if the government can't look into the activities of the Jehovah's Witnesses and look into their so-called charitable status, look into how they're covering up child sex abuse, look how they're doing harm to people by shunning and causing people to commit suicide. So these are some of the things we're trying to make the government be aware of. And there were police all over the place. It was unbelievable, but it was really very, very successful. And I am so happy. I'm really, I haven't come down from my high. I still feel, I'm amazed. I'm having a hard time even. I'm thinking I'm going to wake up from some dream or something, because I've been waiting for this for years, and I think it's now happening. The Watchtower is hemorrhaging. And I know you guys used to always say to me, come on, Rick, you're looking through rose-colored glasses. Come on, Rick, you're sensationalizing things. Friends, now you know. You see it all happening. The Watchtower is on life support. They are on life support. And it's just there's going to be such a vast amount of people coming out in the next year. The Watchtower is not even going to believe it. The witnesses aren't going to believe it. It's going to be, even the ex-witnesses aren't going to believe it. We're going to have that many people that will be coming out. Boy, I'll tell you what. So we had a really good time. Like I said, I met a lot of people. I met people, but they were coming up to me. I didn't realize the 6 screens were so popular. I really didn't. You know, I get on the radio program here and I try to do my best every Saturday night and every other Sunday. But I never realized the Six Screens is as popular as it is out there. Boy, people were coming up to me. Oh, Rick, we love the Six Screens. We love listening to the program. We love listening to the callers calling in from all over the world. And we love to listen to what you say on there every Saturday night. It really encourages me. Boy, I had people coming up. They wanted to take a selfie, us together. There were people there. A couple from the United Kingdom were there. They came up. I got to meet them. There was a woman there from, where was she? Brazil. And she was somewhat of a news reporter. I don't know. I think it was for a Brazilian newspaper or something. But there were people there that I really was so encouraged to meet. A lot of these people, they're callers. They call into the program. I never really get to see what they look like, really who they are, but I get to meet a lot of people that call into the Six Screens program. And geez, I'll tell you, they really do like the broadcast. So that gives me the incentive, you know, as long as I'm having fun, and it gives me the incentive when I know it's encouraging people. And all of our works at the Six Screens and all the people that have programs here, they put a lot of work into their programs and a lot of effort goes into it. So I want them all to know too that they're all appreciated. They're all appreciated because the people kept saying to me they like what we're doing here. So I'm glad I came away feeling pretty good. Now I got back home. That would have been on Wednesday night, and you know, I took a lot of the equipment here down. I had webcams and computers and everything I had to bring with me to be able to do the live broadcast. So we had 200 people that were there plus. Now the other thing that I found very interesting is we had over 6,000 people listening online. What does that say to you? You got, you know, over 200 people there doing it in person. Plus you had over 6,000 listening online. And now we have thousands too coming in and watching the protest that we did. But doing the live protest, there was 6,000 people listening. So what message does that send to you? Well, the message it sent to me is there must be an awful lot of Jehovah's Witnesses listening in. Now, I'm sure a lot of ex-witnesses too, they were very curious and to see how it was going. But you know, at the end of the protest, a man who listens into this program, he approached me and he said, Rick, did you see those two men in the mask? He says, that was standing next to me. I says, yeah, I saw them. He said, well, you know, those two men, they were PMOs. They're still like going to the meeting, but they heard about this protest and they wanted to come down and see what was going on. So, you know, friends, I'll tell you what, it touched a lot of people and it's still touching them because it's online. Did someone want to speak up? You run with us. Hit *6. You want to say something? Go ahead. You run with us.
Rick.
Yes, Scott. Yes.
I'm sorry I called in too late, but yeah, sorry I couldn't make the protest, but I want to help you out. If you want to make your cause known, reach out to the Nobel laureates worldwide, and maybe you can help get the Peace Prize for your recognition on raising awareness on religious freedoms and stuff, human rights and stuff. And the Nobel Peace Committee is in Norway. You reach to them, reach out and send in the videos of the protests, and you'll get their attention.
Well, thank you. I never was nominated for a Nobel Prize. I mean, thank you. I'm flattered by that. I mean, but what I'm thinking, not to be negative, but when you, I don't know if they would give a Nobel Prize to a.
There are videos on how to win, how to get nominated or win that prize.
Right.
Look those up on YouTube. They have instructional videos.
Yeah, I
basic steps.
I understand, and thank you for saying that. But see, here's the thing: when you start lambasting religion, when you start exposing,
I'm not going to do that.
No, well, no, I know that's what, but I mean that's what our whole gig is here, right? We expose the Watchtower. So the Nobel Committee members might not like that part of it. But maybe they would. I don't know. But I might look into that. Geez, I'd love to win a Nobel Prize. I mean, that'd be a good thing, wouldn't it? Yeah.
They're looking for human rights activism, and that protest just is an example of that. They're looking for humanitarian human rights activism. Plus, this year they won that. They awarded that Iranian lady named Narges Mohammadi, who was imprisoned in Iran for advocating for women's rights in Iran.
Yeah, that's right. I do remember that. Right. She was a young girl, too. She wasn't an older woman. No, she was a young girl.
This other one was Malala in
the other one.
2014, ironically.
Wow, you know your Nobel Prize winners, Guy. So did you watch the protest? Did you watch the protest on YouTube?
I cannot per se. All I can do is provide info on how to contact certain people.
Well, no,
for
not that. I mean, we'll drop that. But I mean, did you watch the protest that we did? Were you watching it online?
I did watch some of it. I did watch a lot of it.
So what?
At first, I was going to have some concerns, but I'm glad it turned out nonviolent.
Yeah. So what did you like about it?
You guys made your point clear, for one thing, about not advocating for violence and stuff. And that thing for Colorado and Germany and India, those are giving you guys a bad name, so to speak.
Yeah, so it could have, well, because of the Israeli war right now with Palestine, we were all concerned that there may have been, a large group of protesters there because of the war. But they came a couple days afterwards, so we kind of got a little reprieve there. So that worked out good, Guy. Yeah.
The other factor is Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine still has a Bethel branch. Russia does not anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, I went down there thinking, I was always looking over my shoulder. In today's day and age, you just can't take things for granted. I mean, I was ready and willing to get out of there in a hurry if I had to, because you never know when some type of violence could break out. The police were all over the place. The Secret Service, I've never seen so many policemen in my life. They were more or less expecting something, because you wouldn't have that much of a police presence. They were everywhere. Capitol Police, well, I should say White House Police, as well as the Secret Service, as well as the regular police. It looked like a military zone, really. It was unbelievable. Plus, there were snipers on the roof that would shoot you in a heartbeat if you ever tried to do something,
Yeah, and another point I want to bring up, that Israel has a Bethel branch up in Tel Aviv, just so you know.
Well, thank you, Guy. And I want you to know that the information that you sent me, all of your letters, and you gave me some ideas for the protest sign. So thank you very much. And thank you for calling in today. I appreciate your call. Thank you, Guy.
Well, thank you for letting me talk.
All righty. Very good. Well, that's Guy.
Take care.
Thank you. That's Guy out of Florida. And obviously, he likes what we do. I mean, do you like what we do? I mean, I like everything the apostates do. I don't care what it is, whether you're doing a YouTube. Hey, listen, you're my friend if you're exposing the Watchtower. Fran and Joe Garino. Well, you know them. They do a program here on the 6 Screens. They had little postcards made up. And Fran was walking around all around the White House, handing out little postcards and who the Jehovah's Witnesses are and what they do. And everyone does their own little ministries, right? And we can all do that. We can all spread the word. I try to tell everybody I come in contact with who and how dangerous the Jehovah's Witnesses are. I let people know that. I don't want people to get involved with the Jehovah's Witness organization. Wouldn't you want them not to get involved either? It really managed to hurt a lot of us, because we got involved with that organization. There's many listening to this program today. Their lives could have been so much more enhanced. Now, that doesn't mean that life's totally terrible for you. but I'm saying that, you could have gone on. Maybe you could have gone on to be a Nobel Prize peace winner or something. I mean, you could have achieved so many things, but you couldn't do it when you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Boy, I'll tell you. But it was really a pleasant experience. And that brings me to another point. When the protest was over, and you folks all remember what it was like when we used to be Jehovah's Witnesses and the convention was over, we would all kind of hug and shake hands, and some of the brothers and sisters would cry, and they were so emotionally upset, and they were emotionally attached to the convention. Well, I saw the same spirit. I saw the same attitude of the people when the protest was over. They began hugging and shaking hands and lovey-dovey. And it was just an amazing thing to see. And these were people that never even met each other. It's only they had one thing in common. They all left the Watchtower. And that's enough. That's a bond. That is a strong bond that can bring people together. So then I got thinking, why don't we have a Jehovah's Witness convention? I got thinking of that last night. And I'm starting to really put two and two together. A lot of people, they didn't want to come protest because it's not for everybody. People get nervous doing that. I can understand that. Not everyone wants to be an activist, so I can get that part of it. But maybe people would like to come together and just have a convention. Maybe people will just like to come and hear some testimonies and stories and how people have worked their way out of the Watchtower and what they're doing today. So I came up with an idea. In 2025, in 2 years, if all goes well, we're gonna hold our first ex-Jehovah's Witness convention. We're gonna call it "We Are Alive" in 2005. So that's the theme. I got the theme. I just don't have the location yet. I'm working on it, but I definitely want to put this together. And I believe we can probably get, I would say, upwards of 500 or 600 people, maybe even more. I don't know what city we'll have it in yet. I'm putting some feelers out. Of course, I live up here in Boston. Of course, that's on the East Coast. So people coming from the West Coast, it's kind of far. Or if we had it on the West Coast, it'd be hard for the people coming from the East Coast. So in Chicago, that seems to be right about the middle. It's possible we could do it in Chicago, but I'll get some feedback from people. People can give me some ideas. We'll talk about it. But I'm going to go ahead and start, making the groundwork situation come together here, and all the groundwork that's needed to put it together. So we'll take a look at it. We'll see where we should do it, how we should do it, and make it possible too for people who can't afford to come. Maybe we can do some things through the 6 screens and through our callers that maybe some of us that do pretty good in life and have had it pretty good leaving the Watchtower, maybe we can help some of the people that haven't done that good because of the policies of the Watchtower. So that's that kind of gets me excited. I think that'd be a great thing. And I see people even on YouTube. In our previous program, we talked a little bit about it. And boy, so many people are saying, Rick, I'd love to do something like that. So I think something like that could be a wonderful thing to do. So I believe we could get as many people as possible to come to our little convention. And it might be a big convention. It might be bigger than you think. Well, Anne Marie was on here earlier with us. Anne Marie, she has her own programs here on the 6 screens. But she was saying, Rick, why don't we do it like a Woodstock? Everyone can come and camp. And, that's an idea too. But, Woodstock, that was more for, young people, I got thinking. Mostly it was young people. So, they could sleep on the ground. They could sleep in a tent. It didn't bother them if they couldn't take a shower or anything. But, a lot of the ex-witnesses aren't totally young kids. So we'll have to give that some thought, but it might be one way of doing it. So I'm going to put it all together and see what we should do. We'll get some ideas from people that are calling in and writing into our program, and we can live stream it. But boy, it'd be so good to get so many people there, and it would be one of the biggest events of our life. Just stop and think about it. It would be perhaps the biggest event of your life. I know one thing would be bigger event than when you got baptized as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I do know that. I know it would be. So, we can try to work on that and put it together. If there's anybody out there online that would like to say anything about that or anything they heard here on the news today, well, go ahead, speak up and say hello to us. See what you have to say. It really is something, the movement.
Yeah, Rick.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah. Well, I just say it's a fantastic idea to me, and I love the fact that you're planning so far in advance, because for somebody that lives so far away from the States like me, that would give me plenty of time to sort of make some, make some plans and, set some money aside every month, whatever. So yeah, from my point of view, that sounds awesome. I'd love to come to something like that.
Well, wouldn't that be that would be the highlight of our life. We could all save up for it. And what I'm going to try to do, and I mentioned this on the program earlier, is YouTube is kind of badgering me or suggesting to me, because we do have a lot of listeners that listen into the 6 screens on YouTube. So they would like me to monetize this. Now, what I mean by that is commercials. When you get on YouTube, there's like an ad, then you have to clip through the ad. You'll see that we don't do that. We don't do it. A lot of the people do it, and they make some money from that. But I'm okay. I do all right. I'm not a materialistic guy. I live a low life here. But I wouldn't want to take and keep that money for myself. But what I would like to do is maybe I will monetize it and let YouTube pay to get you to the convention. So people that are having a hard time, and with all the listeners we have, and they're going to watch these commercials, and you can skip through them too. Well, that would help people. We could put a little fund together, and I would keep you up to date on how much is in the fund. I'd be very transparent, and this would be money that could help people and help put this whole arrangement together. So it's something I'm thinking about, and we could get as many people as possible and even help some of the poor people that are having a real hard time. So I think it would be great. I tried to do conventions in the past up here in Boston back 18 years ago. I rented a hotel room in a Holiday Inn, and I put an ad in the paper, and I had 23 people come the first one we had. Now, this is 18 years ago. There was no such thing as a PMO per se. We didn't even know what that meant back then. And then the second convention I ran, which had been around 2005, 2006, we got 52 people. So that wasn't too bad either. So I'm thinking today, I would say 10 times that many people would come. So we could probably get 500 or 600 people. And wouldn't that be something to all be in the same room with all of these super apostates? Okay, we do have someone coming in. Go ahead. You're on with us. It looks like JP.
Hey, Rick, how's it going?
I'm doing good.
I had an idea for if you want to have a convention in 2025. When I went a few months back to Long Beach for you undercover to see what was going on at the convention, at the Long Beach Convention Center, they have 2 parts. They got the arena, which is the one that the witnesses rent out. And then on the other side of the convention center, they have like a banquet room that holds several hundred people. It would be funny if you could like schedule an ex-JW convention, like book it the same weekend as a JW convention.
Well, that's an idea, JP. Yeah, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I went there, the parking lot seemed a lot fuller, but I noticed that there was a different event. It was like a kind of like a craft show or some kind of like a seminar or something, and there was 2 separate lines going into the convention center. But can you imagine if one was for, the JW, regional convention, and then the other line was for a ex-JW convention?
Yeah, that would be an excellent idea. I like that idea.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how many people that were at the convention that were maybe PMOs might kind of slip across and come check out what's going on over there or something. You never know.
Yeah. Well, actually, we'll have to look at that. That's a possibility. I don't know if we'd make it too confusing, but we would reach the witnesses too at the same time, JP. Yeah. Yeah. It's an idea. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, that's all I had to say, though. I thought that was because it's they both have 2 locations, but the banquet room and then the arena, they both kind of suit the needs for the amount of people that you're trying to get. And then I think it would be funny if it was at the same location at the same weekend as a regional convention. That would be funny.
It would
Because
be.
during time, the only thing that separates those two areas is just they usually have it roped off. That's it. But once you walk out of the convention, there's, you can talk to whoever's from the other event or that one. There's not like really anything separating anybody. So it would be a good way to, even if people wanted to go around like branding them and just hand out like, stuff, awareing people or just letting the witnesses know that it's okay. They don't have to be scared that we're right next door and that, they can do this. And there's a lot of people.
Yeah, well, that's an idea. Now we're going to research many ideas. I'm trying not to have it on either end of the coast here, whether it's the east or the. I'd like to see it probably have it in Chicago area, so people could get there easier if they were going to drive, rather than drive 3,000 miles and only have to travel, like 1,500. So that's a possibility. Well, we're going to look into it. But thank you for your suggestion, JP. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's other locations around the country, somewhere in the middle or, not too far that have a similar setup to the Long Beach one where they have like a main arena and then like a banquet room that they can hold two events there.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure there's plenty of convention centers that have a similar setup.
Yeah.
But you have a blessed day, Rick. It was nice calling in and talking to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. What you see us on YouTube and you knew we were on, or what happened?
Yeah, you said yesterday it was going to be Sixth Screen Sunday, so I know.
Well, thank
it
you.
usually comes on around this time.
Well, thank you for coming in, JP. Always good to hear from you. Thank you, JP.
Okay, good day. Bye.
All righty. Well, folks, I'll tell you what. I mean, it was a big week here in the Watchtower and in the ex-witness world. And we're gonna close the program out here very shortly. But I want to thank everybody that sends me news clips. It's like a news clearinghouse for the Watchtower here. I mean, all the news I get every day long. My phone dings and Facebook Messenger and emails, and I get a lot of mail coming in. And you guys are helping me be able to do the news. And I try to pick the top stories and run with that. So thank all of you that send me news here to the 6 screens. And my email is jwworldnews@gmail.com. jwworldnews@gmail.com. I'm taking a look here. I did have a $20 bill I was going to give someone because our duck would come down if you said the words. And I'm just looking to see if the words were said, the words that we had written down here. One of the words was Zoom. I did not hear the word Zoom. So that was not said here today. But if someone would have said Zoom, the duck would have came down and gave you $20. It's a way that we're trying to get more and more people to come and listen in to the 6 screens. So every news program we do, we'll have that $20 bonus that if someone says the word that I have put down ahead of time, in this particular case, the word was Zoom, and no one said it. So we'll have to see what happens next Saturday night. All right. So I want to thank you all for coming in to the 6 Screen Sunday. And we do have another program coming up next. We don't want you to go away. We have 2 more programs that I think you will like. In fact, I know you will like. We have a program coming up here next. It's called The Christian Court. And what a program that is. And what it does is it answers peculiar Christian questions. Now, we have 2 scholars come in. We give them the question. The scholars answer it. Now, on the docket today, one of the questions I think was really good. One of the questions I think was really good. Did Chicago want to come in? Did the 312 want to come in? 312 want to come in? Go ahead. You're with us. 312. Did you want to say something? Okay, guess not. You're just unmuted. Okay, go ahead. Okay, you're unmuted. Go ahead. 312, go ahead. Speak up. All right, we'll let that one go. But one of the questions we have on the Christian Court today is, there's a war, as we all know, going on in Palestine. Israel and Palestine are going at it. And a lot of Christians are wondering what position should they take on that war. We know, as Christian people know, that Israel is God's chosen people. So how are we to feel about the Palestinians? How would a Christian properly work through this? the Christian Court today, the program coming up next, is going to answer that question. So why don't you stay with us? One last comment from Chicago. Did you want to say something, 312? I guess not. Well, we're going to end the program.
Hey, Rick. This
Yes.
is, Rick.
Yes, go ahead, Stephanie. You got to do it
Hey,
quick.
sorry about that. I couldn't get off of mute fast enough.
Yep.
I
Okay.
just had a thought about your 2025 conventions. If the numbers merit it, maybe what you want to have is one on each coast and then one in the Midwest, so that people don't have to travel so far. And then we can do like a simulcast. And then people, as they're giving their speeches, we can kind of switch over from coast to coast or the Midwest. So it's just a thought.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. But, generally the expense, I know the last time I was going to run, I was going to have a big protest. I rented out a hotel room, a big convention center, and I was going to be into this thing for close to $4,000 or $5,000. So, it'd be kind of expensive, to do it in 3 places. So we'd have to do it in one. But it's a good thought, and maybe in the future we could do that, kind of like the witnesses do it. But the first one might have to be in one, just for expense.
Exactly.
For expenses. Yeah. Thank you, though.
Okay.
I appreciate it, Stephen. Thank you very
No
much.
problem.
We are going to end this program. We are now going to the Christian Court. But friends, if you like what you see here, if you like these programs we do on YouTube and Facebook, give us a like, subscribe. Let more and more people know what we're doing here on every Saturday night and every other Sunday on our 6 screens telenetwork exposing the Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, friends, I want you all to keep standing tall. Don't you ever give in, up, or out. Keep waving the flag of victory. And the last one, to leave the watchtower. Please turn off the new light. Stay with us. The Christian Court coming up next right here on the 6 screens telenetwork.